Fox host Laura Ingraham has joined in the chorus of Republicans against the cancellation of student loans. So, look, recently the Biden administration, an article thought, oh, okay, maybe we're going to try to do something, maybe cancel a small amount of student loans. One of the campaign promises that Biden had made was to cancel 10,000. Now, that wouldn't actually solve the problem. There's almost $1.8 trillion worth of student loans. It would help a significant amount of people who have debt under 10,000 or or take a significant chunk out of the debt. But again, it doesn't really solve the problem. But it appears even that much or any amount is too much for the people over at Fox News. Like many, Ingram used the argument that, well, look, mine are paid off. And so I paid mine off, and so should you. Except that there's one thing, one little caveat to that one. It appears that she accidentally admitted that she didn't pay off her own student loans. So now, before I get to that, Ingram had attended Dartmouth, where she earned her undergrad in the mid-1980s, when college was much cheaper. How much cheaper? Back in 1985, tuition was about $10,000 a year. Oops. Now, the undergrad tuition fees are about $60,000. The graduate tuition school tuition and fees are actually about $59,000. So roughly, again, 60 grand. Now that's a huge change in price. Huge, huge, huge. And that's even accounting for inflation. Now here's another example, according to a study by Demos, for members of Congress who are supposed to be legislating on this. And it really also shows you one reason why they're not really doing a whole lot, even though Biden has the authority to do so right now. For members of Congress, because I showed you yesterday tweets from Mitt Romney, and there were tweets from other members of Congress, Jim Jordan, for example. And so they were all against this. Well, how much should they pay back in the day? For members of Congress, generally, since they are on the older side, they paid on average in tuition for just 1 year about $3,800. That's an average of $8,000 in today's dollars. Students attending the same mix of colleges would see tuition bills averaging over $24,000 per year, an increase of over $15,000. Now, nowhere in the arguments from the right wing and from so-called centrists, who are really just conservatives who might not hate gay and trans people, well, that they use to justify forcing people to pay back these loans, do they address how much more the average college student has had to borrow just to go to school? It's multitudes more than what they did. And of course, at the same time, when you couple it with the lack of the growth of wages, that's why it's so difficult for people to pay it back. That's why they're under this gigantic debt load. It's not as if, oh, it's just a little bit of money, and so, they should be able to pay it back within a couple of years of having their good job. No, that's not the reality of the situation. Oftentimes it takes 30 to 40 years to pay off your student loans. And oftentimes it's a result of, well, poor pay. Or just the enormous amount that you have to borrow just to be able to go to school. And so now, it gets better though. Because Ingram basically admitted, I didn't actually pay most of my loans. Here's her tweet. My mom worked as a waitress until she was 73 to help pay for our college. Even helped with loan repayment. So wait, she paid part of your tuition and helped you repay part of your loan? But hey, I paid it myself, and therefore you should pay it too. She added, loan forgiveness is just another insult to those who play by the rules. Ah, yes, playing by the rules by having your mother work till she is basically, 1 foot away from the grave to pay your student loans. Not exactly a winning argument there. And it's a good thing too. I doubt that this actually happened. I mean, there's no way. Remember, she makes millions of dollars a year at Fox News. Based on how much or how little tuition is or was back in the day when she had graduated from college, she could pay that off with a week's paycheck easily. Pocket change for her. If she allowed her poor elderly mother to work till she was 73 waiting tables to help pay for her loans, well, I mean, again, that really, for one, destroys your argument because you had help, and so you didn't do it all on your own. And again, it also makes you look like a shit person. And also made the case that we should absolutely do student loan forgiveness and fix the cost of college. So that, somebody's 73-year-old mother doesn't have to take out an additional job to pay off the loans of her daughter, who's also incredibly wealthy. Again, horrible. What a horrible person. Now, she got some replies to this, and these are pretty great. Julie IF says, I played by the rules, and the rules gave me shit for financial aid. Despite being the child of refugees who had no money. Still, my parents and I played by the rules, paid off the loans that we all took out to pay for my college education. I, and they, fully support loan forgiveness. Awesome. Cher Jacobus, however, she had some questions about the timeline. How old was Laura when her mom was 73? Because even if she gave birth to her at age 40, it meant Laura made her wait tables to pay for her Ivy League degree and law degree that she never used when Laura was well into her 30s and on TV. Making lots of money as well. Interesting. Then there were some snarky replies. Luke says, I made my mother labor for shit wages until she died too to prove a lesson. Because that's what all conservative patriots do. Aaron Monkey says the rules should include working into your 70s to pay for a child's tuition. That's dumb and broken and not at all normal. Maybe we should stop shaming people who are buried under debt from a corrupt system and instead reform the system that buried them. But understand that would make sense. That would make sense and actually be the right thing to do. So we can't do that. No. Dave Zarin says, do you hate your own mother so much you want others to suffer as she suffered? And then answering his own question, that tracks. Well, I mean, that is Laura Ingraham. Didn't she have a brother that constantly comes out and talks shit about her too? Like, oh yeah, Laura Ingraham. Horrible person. Terrible. Yeah. Well, she proves it all the time. Finally, Kyle Tucker says, number one, you let your mom work until you're 73 to pay your debts? And number two says, what a great argument for student loan forgiveness. Very, very true. Just cancel the debt.